Hello, this is episode 0 of my test podcast for Epigaulus cast, or something like that. I'm not really sure what the name's going to be, to be honest. But it'll basically just be a podcast where I ramble about nothing for extended periods of time. I think it would be cool to maybe read some short stories later on, stuff that other people have written mostly. Once in a while, maybe something that I come up with. But yeah, let's just get into it. So recently, I was looking to buy a lamp, and I couldn't really find what me and my dad. We went walking. We visited like 5 stores, supermarket, hardware stores, and we just couldn't find one. And that's something that I would think be able to find fairly easily. It's just like a little desk lamp. I mean, not anything fancy, just like, the Pixar lamp type thing, you know? Does that thing have a name? Or is it just the Pixar lamp? Because I feel like somebody at some point probably gave it the name like Skaboogly, the Pixar lamp. But maybe not. I mean, I would hope not, because that would be kind of stupid, but whatever. But, yeah. I like zoos. I feel like when we're at the zoo though, we spend like a lot of time trying to convince ourselves that they're not just like insanely insanely cruel to keep an animal locked in a small confined area for its entire life. Like that is cruel, but also I don't want to fucking travel to Malaysia if I want to see a red panda. I should, but I don't want to. And the red panda's at the zoo, so I could just fucking go there, see a cute little red panda behind a pane of glass, sheds a tear every time I walk away, because not because it misses me, but because I have the freedom to go where I please and buy Dippin' Dots and shit, and it does not. So, you know, hmm. You know what superpower I don't understand? Is super speed. I don't understand why anybody would want the superpower of super speed. I feel like, you know what the only thing better than super speed is? Just fucking teleportation, you know? Like, why wouldn't you just say, yeah, I want to be able to teleport? I mean, a cop's just the same thing. You get from point A to point B, but with teleportation, you do it fucking instantly. As opposed to super speed, where you still gotta fucking run for like 5 minutes to get to China. Plus, with teleportation, you could just like, you could just like teleport in like a haphazard way through the air to fly shittily. I think it would be good. I think that would be good to do. But yeah, I play D&D sometimes, Dungeons and Dragons, for those who don't know. But God, sometimes I just can't do it. Like I don't necessarily understand a lot of the appeal of the game. For me personally, the appeal is to was the role playing aspect and the improvisational aspect that I find fun. And like other people, they seem to enjoy knowing a million things about this specific race of elves and making up these huge expansive worlds that nobody but them are ever gonna really understand or know about or care about. And like, I think it's cool to invent a whole world. It is. Like, I was talking to this one person, and they were like, yeah, I invented a language based on bird calls. And that's fucking sick. Legitimately, that's cool. But also, why? Actually, no, I know why. It's because they enjoy it. But I don't know. I feel like that's something you should put in like a novel. You don't need to put that in your D&D game. I feel like D&D to me, it runs better on simplicity than some huge complex system. Like once in a while, every couple days, you want to smack somebody with a sword. But most of the time, you just want to fucking basically play pretend with a bunch of fucking near adults, you know? It's basically, it's just an excuse for older people. When I say older people, I don't mean like seniors, to just be kids in a sense. They just like hang out and pretend to be fucking elves and shit. Or at least that's what I like about it. I prefer different types of TTRPGs, tabletop role-playing games. I prefer Call of Cthulhu to Dungeons and Dragons because it's sort of simpler, but at the same time, you know, it's still difficult to get all that shit going. Like this one time, I I was like, all right, I'm gonna make a Call of Cthulhu one shot, which is where you play it one time in one session. And so I was like, all right, what's it gonna be about? It's gotta be scary because it's like horror themed. It's gotta be quirky. It's gotta be interesting. People gotta like these characters that I put in here. But in the end, it just devolves into madness and just stupid shit, which is honestly even better than what you were hoping for in the beginning. It just turns into nothing. But that can be disappointing if you have this complex world and narrative planned out, and then it just sort of crumbles around you. But that's what's interesting about that type of game, is that it's not, it doesn't necessarily feed into that like adult, this is what's going to happen. I planned it all out. I've written it down. I think that's actually the main difference when you think about it. Because, I mean, when you're playing Make Pretend as a kid, there's other kids who are like, this is how I like to do it. I know I have a force field. You can't use your laser blade against me as I have a laser field around myself. And anybody within a 5-foot radius of me dies instantly. So, there's that. Maybe it's not all that different after all, you know? Hmm. I used to live in Bosnia and Herzegovina, which is a little country that was part of Yugoslavia and was having a real bad time in the 90s. But I don't know. I kind of liked it there in a way. It was just where I lived, and it was small. It was pretty quiet, and not a lot went on there. I lived in the capital, Sarajevo. It had a population of 300,000, which was huge for Bosnia, but, you know, small for most capital cities in the world. But I don't know, it was nice. It was nice to get home from school and eat Bosnian food and not think about it and just eat fucking burek. Burek sa biftekum that my mom would get at the bakery. It was like, man, this is pretty good. I like this, you know? It was an enjoyable thing to come home to. And they had, snacks and shit. Mostly just the food was pretty good. And it was close by to a lot of, European countries, Italy, France. It was cool. Croatia is super nice too. I don't know. I'd never read The Giving Tree before till a couple of days ago. It was interesting. I couldn't. I guess the thing about The Giving Tree is that it's not really like telling you to be either of the characters, because it's not necessarily good to be the tree, and it's not necessarily good to be the boy. I think it's easier to identify why it's bad to be the boy because you're taking. But as the tree, you can't just keep giving. At a certain point, you have to say, no, I don't have. Or I guess it's not that because they always had something to give. They always had branches or apples, and I don't know. So you just had, maybe you should just give forever. I don't think that that's the moral though. Maybe it's just not a moral that I'm used to. Or it doesn't seem like a moral that would be accepted and passed around, you know, American society. And I wouldn't think that The Giving Tree would become such a popular children's book with that moral. So there must be something that I'm missing. But maybe not. Maybe it's just sort of a demonstration of two, or a demonstration of a type of relationship, I guess is what I would say. More than anything. That's what it is. Yeah. Hmm. Well, we're hitting around the 12-minute mark, so that'll end this segment of the show. Or possibly this might just be the end of the show. Yeah, I'll come up with a good name, and maybe that'll be in the title. We'll see. Thanks.